Hi friends, this is Pradeep Srivastava. Welcome to my channel. See, I have been, putting various videos on the Japanese culture, and somehow I have been extremely fascinated about the Japanese culture. And in fact, I'm planning to visit Japan as soon as possible. Uh, so, I'm sure you must have seen my last couple of videos on the Japanese culture. I'm going to talk to you about a simple thing. If someone says, if I told you that just walking in a forest could boost your immunity, lower your blood pressure, or even protect you from cancer, will you believe it? No, no, it sounds unbelievable, right? But in Japan, it is a doctor prescribed therapy and it is called Shinrin-Yoku, right? So Shinrin-Yoku, in other terms, to understand it in simple terms, is forest bathing. So that is the culture they follow, and it is one of the most prescribed therapy by the doctors there. And most of the Japanese people, they follow this spiritually. They feel it is a spiritual thing. They feel it is an important thing, and they do not miss it. So I am going to cover this uh, particular culture, which is Shinrin Yoku, in detail. I'm sure that you will like it. Rather, you will start following it, and you will forget that brisk walking is the only solution for everything. Please do watch this video completely, and do put your feedback and comments. I'll be very happy if I see you subscribing my channel, giving me feedback, and or also suggesting me the topics on which I can probably bring up a good content for you. Yeah, let's start. Talk about a particular therapy which is practiced in Japan, and it is recommended by the doctors, and it is called Shinrin Yoku. In layman terms, if you translate this, it means actually you're bathing in the forest atmosphere. That is what it means, right? So in Japan, let me give you a little background about this Shinrin Yoku so that you understand it perfectly. So it began in Japan in 1982, right? And it was introduced by the Japanese Ministry of Forestry as part of National Health Program to fight rising stress and lifestyle diseases. Just see, in fact, if you see my last video on that was again, I guess on walking itself, and the other videos on the longevity, you will find that the Ministry of Health of Japan has done innumerable things to ensure that the Japanese people are, walking, and they maintain a healthy lifestyle, and they have made the entire city and the country conducive for what is required to have a good health, right? And that is the reason why in Japan, the average age of a Japanese man and a woman is plus 85 years, right? And if there, as I have told you in the earlier videos, so there is an island there in Japan called Okinawa, where the average age of the population there is 100 plus years. So that is the kind of thing which is happening in Japan, and many countries are adopting, many people are adopting, and it is very important to study this. And it all depends on us. If we want to practice it, fine. If we don't want to practice, fine. But then knowing good things in life is always good for anyone, right? So today, Japan has about 60 official forest therapy trails. So they have made the forest changed into therapy trails, right? So that people can go for forest bathing. I mean to say they can go for Shinrin Yoku, right? So Japan has about 60 official forest therapy trails where people can go for forest bathing. I mean to say Shinrin Yoku, and this is where the doctors actually send their patients to walk instead of prescribing pills. See the beauty of the things. The doctor don't catch you and probably start prescribing pills and put you addicted to it. Rather, they give you solutions, and rather they give you various ideas how you can improve your health, or how you can improve on the how can you eliminate the disease which you are suffering of, right? So that these are the 60 official forest therapy trails, right? It's part of their preventive healthcare system, and it's now spreading fast across South Korea, China, the US, and the Europe. So everywhere, as I said earlier also, it is spreading all across the world. But then people don't follow it, people don't take it seriously. But I strongly feel that if you see all my videos on Japanese culture, and if you connect the dots, you will understand it's extremely going to be favorable for any human being when you talk about longevity, when you talk about taking care of your health, when you talk about not getting ill, blah blah blah, right? So that is what. So what we need to understand is what is the science behind it, right? So let's understand what is the science behind Shinrin-Yoku. So see, here how it works, I'll tell you. When you walk through a forest, trees, they release compounds called phytoncides, right? So when you walk through a forest, the trees release a compound called phytoncides, right? Which are natural oils that protect them from germs and fungi. So that is number one. So when you breathe this in, the body responds beautifully to it, right? So so it is a natural killer cells, which your immune army that fights viruses and even cancer and increases the chances by 40 to 50%, right? And the effects, they last 30 days after just one forest walk. I repeat this because this is an underlying statement that when you walk in the forest, it becomes a natural killer of the cells. It fights the viruses, it fights even cancer, it increases the chances of 40 to 50% in terms of immunity, and the effect is up to 30 days when you take one forest training walk, right? So that is what it is. So the second point is that the blood pressure and the cortisol. Cortisol is basically the stress hormones, right? They drop significantly. So that is the number two big benefit, right? The third important benefit is, this is even bigger than the first two, is the alpha brain waves, right? When the alpha brain waves is working, you can see a couple of videos on neuroscience. It is very, very important because when you connect neuroscience plus yoga and plus walking, it will give you extremely good idea that why it is important for any human being. So when the alpha brain waves start working, it is linked to calm your focus. It is linked to calm you and increase your focus. So that is what it is. So a major study which took place in Chiba University in Japan, where they found that participants who spent about 2 hours near forest had, please listen to this very carefully. I'll repeat it again because it's very important. A major study by Chiba University in Japan found that participants who spent just 2 hours in a forest had 12% lower cholesterol. Uh, they had 12% lower cortisol, right? 7% lower sympathetic nerve activity, which is the stress mode, right? And 5% drop in the heart rate compared to the city walks. So that is the difference when you walk in the nature, guys. And that is why the Japanese government and the Japanese doctor, they give a lot of significance to it. So that's the nature acting. That's the nature, it's acting like a free side and effect medicine, right? So that is what it is. So the science behind Shinrin-Yoku is very clear. So it helps your alpha brain waves, it reduces your blood pressure and cortisol, right? And it also increases your immunity so that it can fight with the viruses and the cancer if it is, right? So that is what is the science. Third point which comes is why it's so popular in Japan. Okay, Japan, as we all know, is one of the most urban, high stress work cultures in the world, right? It's very difficult to work in Japan, guys. I don't know if you have friends or some colleagues there who would probably share the kind of stress they go through when it's about the high work pressure culture there, right? Yet they have the highest life expectancies, right? And as I said, it is 84 years of average on average, right? Part of the credit of this goes to the lifestyle practices like Shinrin Yoku, mindfulness, and community-centered wellness, right? They strongly believe, you please see my other videos. I strongly recommend you, and I'll be very happy if you confirm me that you've seen that. They believe in community living. They believe, that once in a while, rather quite frequently, you should be, eating, drinking with the community, and probably that is what, drink, dine, dance, because that is what gives them harmony, number one. Number two, it de-stresses. Number three, it networks. And number four, they are out of all those shit, what they can think negative about their lifestyle, right? So that's very important. So what happens in this case, about 2.5 million Japanese people, they practice forest bathing every year, and it is not as a hobby, yeah, but they don't practice as a hobby but as a preventive medicine. So it is part of the culture that forest bathing, Shinrin Yoku, has to be done once a year, and they do it at least once a year, right? Even the Japanese government funds research on forest therapy because it's proven to reduce healthcare cost over time. So the Japanese government is funding that research because they feel that it is important, because that is what will save life of the citizens there and probably take care of their healthcare system. Okay, so and the healthcare cost will go down over time, right? So guys, because it's so powerful, though it looks very simple, that the world is catching up, right? And why is the world catching up? Uh, just I'll give you a little synopsis about it. Countries like US, Finland, Canada, and Australia are adopting forest therapy. Right? The national park in the US has even introduced prescription natural nature walks for stress and anxiety. Right? So that is the development, guys. Harvard researchers found that people who live near green spaces have a 12% lower mortality rate than probably the other ones. Right? So 12% lower mortality rate is mainly because the stress and inflammation levels go low, right? In South Korea, their term is that healing forest, right? And it has become a government initiative. It helps to reduce the burnout amongst the students and the corporate employees, right? So clearly, it is not now just a Japanese thing, right? It has become a global movement. Please understand this point. I'm talking about all these things. It is essential to talk about the mind-body connection as well, right? And what they say in Japan, their culture says that when you walk slowly, you breathe deeply, and you engage with your senses, right? So you are activating the parasympathetic nervous system. Very, very important, right? Which actually helps you in the rest and repair mode, which is in the rest and repair mode, right? So you're activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which is important. It will improve your sleep. It will enhance your focus. It will lower your blood pressure. It will boost your immunity, and it will reduce anxiety and depression. And unlike meditation, you don't have to sit still or empty your mind, right? So you just have to be in whatever you're doing. And even the Buddhism says, when you read about the Buddhism theory and the spirituality, it says be in present. Past is past, future is not in your hands. Be in present, and that is what is mindfulness, and that is what is going to give you immense happiness, satisfaction, and reduce your stress and anxiety. Right? So that is what it is, guys. So my personal experience. Uh, I used to walk, right? But I used to walk in the neighborhood parks, and that was consistent. But it was going on. Suddenly, when I studied about this philosophy and the culture, I decided to myself, if I can't get a dense forest in the city area where I live in, why not go to a place where the place is full of trees and nature, and probably the nature is near to you when you're walking, right? So that's what I did. And in the last 1 year, I have made it a practice to at least, whenever I get time, because you have to go a little far, you have to pick up your car and go. So at least twice a week or thrice a week, I go and spend a good time there walking in the nature. It can be in the morning, it can be in the evening, it can be in the night, whenever you get time, right? So even if we just do 20 minutes of slow mindful walking, rather I do more than an hour of walking, but 20 minutes of slow mindful walking, focusing on the smell of the grass, the feel of the wind, the sound of the leaves, it is a very, very different feeling, guys, right? And guess what? My resting heart dropped by 8 beats per minute for the rest of the day. So that is the benefit I started getting, right? I felt calmer, I felt more focused, and oddly happier, right? So that is what it is. So it made me realize that how disconnected we have become from nature, and how healing it truly is when we slow down. It's not to run every time, but this is what it is. To conclude, next time when you feel noisy, when you feel upset, your mind is very heavy, skip the screen, skip the caffeine, and go and find out nature. Spend your time there, right? Walk slowly, listen deeply, breathe fully, because sometimes the best medicine doesn't come from a bottle, right? It comes from the trees. Always remember that. And Shirin, you should follow this Japanese culture. If you feel it is a good thing, it is Shinrin-Yoku. Uh, if you have ever tasted walking in a beautiful nature, mindful nature, maybe in the Himalayas, maybe in the nature, maybe in a forest. What has been your experience? I would love to hear it. Do like, share, and subscribe. I'm sure you must have loved the content. Thank you very much. Namaskar.